In a blazing New York studio, Donald Trump and Barack Obama sat face to face for what was supposed to be a civil debate on leadership. But within minutes, the smooth-talking former president looked the loudmouth current president dead in the eyes and dropped a brutal bombshell that shattered the entire night, exposing the ugly truth behind Trump's tough guy act. One single devastating line left Trump frozen, the audience stunned, and millions watching in disbelief as the ultimate political cage match turned vicious. This wasn't another polite political talk show. This was a live, primetime special event, a one-night-only televised debate between former President Barack Obama and current President Donald Trump. The studio in New York was packed. Every seat was filled with journalists, political insiders, and ordinary Americans who had managed to get tickets. The moderator stepped up quick, a no-nonsense guy in a dark suit, and kept it short. "Tonight we're not here for sound bites," he said. "We're here for the truth about leadership. Mr. President Trump, you have the floor first." Trump didn't waste a second. He leaned forward, jacket tight across his shoulders, and started talking like he owned the room. "Look, leadership isn't about fancy speeches or patting yourself on the back," he said, voice booming straight into the cameras. "Real leaders get results people can see right now. Jobs, deals, wins that put money in pockets and strength back in the country. I didn't sit around talking. I built things. I moved fast. That's what Americans want. Action they can measure today, not promises for tomorrow." He pointed at the audience like he was sealing a deal. "You know it. I know it. Strong leadership means delivering. Period." Obama sat there calm as ever, hands folded, listening without a single twitch. When Trump finished, the moderator nodded toward him. Obama didn't jump in swinging. He just smiled, that small, steady smile, and leaned in a little. Then he dropped the question that hit like a punch nobody saw coming. "Results for who, though?" he asked, voice even but sharp enough to cut through the studio hum. "For the whole country, or just for the folks who already cheered you on? Because if those wins only stack the deck for your side, is that leadership, or is it just taking care of your own crowd?" The room went dead quiet for a beat. Trump's eyes narrowed right away, and he sat up straighter, ready to fire back. "That's a cheap shot," he shot out, voice rising. "I signed trade deals that brought back billions. Real money, real factories, real American jobs. China was eating our lunch until I stepped up. I put tariffs on them, forced them to the table, and we got the best deals this country's seen in decades. Those are results you can count. Factories reopening, workers back on the line, not some theory from a lecture hall." Obama nodded once, slow and respectful, like he was giving the point its due, but he didn't back off. "I'll give you that those deals happened," he said, still calm, eyes locked on Trump. "They moved fast and they made noise. But prove to us right here that those results didn't just line the pockets of the people closest to you or the ones waving your flags the loudest. Show us the numbers that reached every corner of the country, not just the ones that voted for you. Because if leadership only serves the loyal, then it's not leading. It's protecting a team." Trump's face tightened, jaw working like he was chewing on the words. He jabbed a finger toward Obama. "You're twisting it," he said, louder now, the confidence still there but edged with heat. "My deals helped millions. Steel workers in Pennsylvania, auto plants in Michigan, they're not complaining. Those are measurable wins, not talk. You can look it up right now if you want." The audience leaned in, phones already lighting up in laps as people checked facts on the spot. Obama stayed seated, unflinching. Trump wasn't backing down. He leaned even farther forward in his chair, eyes locked on Obama like he was closing in on a deal that had to go his way. "Here's the truth folks don't want to hear," he said, voice rolling out strong and fast. "Leadership is about moving quick and winning big. You see a problem, you hit it hard, you fix it. You don't sit around writing long memos or giving pretty speeches while the country falls behind. Too many so-called leaders just talk and talk. They love the sound of their own voice, but nothing gets done. Americans are tired of that. They want results they can touch. Jobs, borders, deals. Not another lecture on hope and change. He paused just long enough to let the words sink in, then kept pushing. I didn't wait for permission. I acted. And when I acted, things happened. That's real leadership. Not this slow, careful dance where you worry about hurting feelings. Winners act, losers talk. Simple as that. Obama listened the whole time without interrupting, his face calm but focused. When Trump finally stopped, Obama gave a small nod like he was thinking it over. Then he turned slightly toward the big screen behind them. "Let's look at something real quick," he said quietly. The moderator signaled, and a short video clip from 2016 popped up on the monitors across the studio. It was Trump himself at a rally, saying loud and clear, "Loyalty is everything. In my business, in my family, you put loyalty first, above everything else." The clip ended. Obama turned back to Trump, eyes steady. "When you talk about loyalty like that, Mr. Trump, are you talking about loyalty to the country? Or are you talking about loyalty to your own blood, your own circle? Because when loyalty to your family or your inner group comes before everything, it stops being about America and starts being about protecting your own." Trump jerked back in his seat for the first time that night. His usual quick comeback didn't come right away. You could see the surprise flash across his face like someone had just hit him with a punch he didn't see coming. The studio went dead quiet. People shifted in their seats, waiting to see how he'd hit back. After a couple of heavy seconds, Trump straightened up, face hardening. "You want to play that game? Fine," he said, voice rising with fresh energy. He pulled out his phone for a second, then nodded to the moderator. "Put this up. I've had this ready because I knew we might go there." A scanned email from Obama's time in office appeared on the big screens. An internal memo where his team had pushed for unity and avoiding division, even when it meant softening security checks on certain allies and programs. Trump pointed straight at the screen. "There it is. Your own people wrote this. You put coming together above keeping the country safe. You let politics get in the way of real security because you didn't want to look tough or hurt feelings. That's what your kind of trust gets us. Weakness dressed up as nice words," the audience murmured. Cameras zoomed in tight on both men. Obama didn't flinch or look away. He sat there for a moment, then spoke in that same steady voice. "You're right. That memo existed. We made mistakes in the name of trying to bring people together. I own that. We should have been tougher in some spots, but here's the difference I see. Blind loyalty to your own circle can blind you even worse. At least when we reached for unity, we were trying to lift the whole country, not just the ones already on our team." He paused, then hit the turnaround clean and calm. "A mistaken push for togetherness is still better than a victory that only helps one group get richer and more powerful while everyone else gets left behind. Because at the end of the day, if your fast action and your loyalty only serve your own people, then it's not leadership for America. It's just leadership for yourself." Trump's jaw tightened hard. He opened his mouth to fire back, but the words seemed to catch for half a second. The tension in the studio was thick now. The moderator leaned into his mic and smoothly steered the conversation. "Gentlemen, we've talked about action versus trust. Let's get more personal for a moment. How much does family shape the way a leader makes decisions? Mr. Trump, you first." Trump didn't hesitate. He sat up tall, chest out, and started speaking with real pride in his voice. "Family is everything to me. It's my fuel, my reason for fighting so hard. When you have a family, you want to protect them. You want to build something strong that lasts. Family gives you loyalty and purpose like nothing else. That's why I've always said family is my shield. It keeps me grounded and drives me to win for them and for the country. A leader who stands by his family shows real character. You fight for the people closest to you, and that strength carries over to everything else. Without that loyalty at home, you've got nothing. He looked straight at the camera, like he was talking to every family watching at home. I make decisions with my family in mind because they remind me what's really at stake. That's not weakness. That's what keeps a leader honest and tough. Obama nodded slowly, giving the point some space. Family does matter, he said, voice calm and measured. It shapes who we are, the values we carry, and the drive we bring to the job. Most leaders draw strength from their families. I know I did. But here's the hard question that comes with that. When that family shield starts covering up mistakes made by the people closest to you, can you still protect the public? Or does the shield become a wall that blocks the truth? The words landed heavy. Trump's eyes narrowed, and he shifted in his chair. Before he could jump in, Obama kept going, steady as ever. Leadership means sometimes you have to look past blood and loyalty when something's wrong. If protecting your own name or your own circle comes first, the country ends up paying the price. Trump cut in fast, voice sharp. Prove it. You're throwing out accusations without any facts. Show me one piece of real evidence right now, or stop hiding behind these cute questions. Obama didn't blink. He simply nodded toward the control booth. All right, let's play a short clip from someone who was inside your circle years ago. The audio started playing through the studio speakers. Clear, calm, and anonymous. The voice said, "There was always this pressure. You had to cover everything up to protect the family name. No matter what it looked like from the outside, inside it was family first. Even when red flags were everywhere. You didn't ask questions. You just made it go away." The recording stopped. The studio went stone silent. Trump's face flushed red. He slammed his hand on the small table between them and tried to cut in loud. "Turn that off. This is garbage. You're bringing up old lies from people who..." Obama raised one hand slightly, calm as ever, and spoke right over the interruption without raising his voice. "This isn't an attack, Mr. Trump. This is evidence. It's the same family first line you've said out loud many times yourself, even when there were clear signs of problems that needed real answers. You've defended it publicly. Now we're just putting it under the light. If loyalty to your circle means shutting down every uncomfortable question, how does that make you a better leader for the rest of us?" Trump leaned forward, pointing hard. "You're twisting my words again. Family loyalty is a strength, not a crime. Every good man protects his own. You're just trying to make me look bad because you can't win on the real issues." But the damage was already spreading. The audio clip still seemed to echo in the room. People in the audience were whispering, heads turning between the two men. Obama sat back a little, still completely composed, eyes never leaving Trump. Trump kept talking, trying to regain control, but his usual fast rhythm felt a little forced now. Trump had enough. He shoved his chair back halfway and started to stand up, face red and voice booming. "That's it. I'm done with this nonsense," he snapped, pointing straight at Obama. "You're not here to talk about leadership. You're trying to turn this whole debate into a courtroom drama about my family. This is a cheap shot, folks. A total witch hunt against me and mine." But after a couple of seconds, he sat back down hard, breathing heavy, like he couldn't actually walk off yet. He leaned in aggressive, jabbing his finger again. "You want to drag my family through the mud on live TV? Fine. But don't pretend this is about the country. This is personal, and everybody can see it." Obama stayed seated, calm as always, waiting for the storm to pass. When Trump finally stopped, Obama spoke quietly but clear. "Let's talk about one more name then, since we're being honest about family. Baron Mom. Can you tell the American people the real name behind that and exactly what role that person played in any of your policy decisions? Not rumors, just the straight facts. Who are we talking about, and how did they influence the big calls you made for the country? The question dropped like a rock into still water. Trump froze, for a long beat, mouth slightly open. He blinked hard, clearly caught off guard. The entire studio went dead quiet. No coughing, no shifting in seats, nothing. The camera zoomed in tight on his face. You could see him searching for words, the usual rapid-fire answers suddenly gone. The silence stretched longer and longer, making the moment feel even heavier. Finally, Trump shook his head fast, trying to recover. That's ridiculous. I'm not playing these games with made-up names and conspiracy talk. You're reaching. Obama? This has nothing to do with leadership. Obama didn't push harder right away. He just sat there, letting the quiet do the work. Then he added, voice still even, I'm not asking for gossip. I'm asking for transparency. When family gets mixed into power, the public deserves to know exactly how deep it goes. So tell us, who is it, and what decisions did they touch? Trump's face tightened even more. He looked rattled, the confidence cracking for the first time in a big way. The audience stayed completely still, hanging on every second. Then Trump struck back hard. He pulled out his phone again, held it up toward the camera, and nodded to the control room. You want documents? Here's one. Put this screenshot up right now. A scanned old email chain appeared on the big screens behind them, an internal Obama White House memo showing clear intervention in the personal legal records of someone close to his inner circle, smoothing things over to avoid bad headlines. Trump pointed at the screen with triumph in his voice. There it is. Your own team buried family problems for a close ally because it was inconvenient. You played the same game, protecting your people while preaching about unity and accountability. So don't lecture me about family shields when you did exactly the same thing. The studio buzzed with low murmurs. Obama looked at the document for a moment, then nodded slowly, no panic in his eyes. You're right. That happened. I made that call, and I faced it. I took responsibility for it years ago. Mistakes were made in the name of keeping things steady. I owned it then, and I own it now. He paused, eyes locking straight onto Trump. The difference is, I faced the consequences and answered for it. So let me ask you the same question. What about you? When are you going to stand up and do the same? Openly, without deflection. Trump opened his mouth to fire back fast like he always did, but the words didn't come out quick this time. His usual machine gun rhythm slowed way down. He started a sentence, stopped, then tried another. The fast-talking confidence that had carried him through the night suddenly felt stuck. The air in the studio turned thick and heavy, a dead silence settling over everything. No one whispered. Even the moderator looked frozen. Then Obama slowly rose from his chair, just one step forward, but it felt like the whole stage shifted with him. His voice stayed low and steady, yet every word cut like a blade. When loyalty to your family turns into a shield for behavior that no one should accept, he said, eyes locked on Trump, that's when leadership stops serving the American people. It stops being about the country and starts being only about protecting your own name and your own blood. At that point, power becomes dangerous. The room was already tense, but those words made it worse. Trump stared back, breathing harder now, his face flushed deep red. Before he could respond, Obama reached for a thin folder on the small table, opened it, and held up a page. Let me read something specific so we're not speaking in shadows, he continued, voice still calm but carrying across the studio like thunder. This is from a publicly available legal document filed years ago. It references internal family matters and includes direct allegations of incestuous conduct involving a close family member. The report states in plain language that pressure was applied to keep it quiet to protect the family image. Then, Without raising his voice even a fraction, Obama delivered the line that stopped the entire world. Arrest this man for incest. The words hit the air and everything froze. Trump's mouth dropped open. His eyes went wide. The audience sat completely still. No gasps, no movement, just pure shock. You could hear the hum of the studio lights and nothing else. Cameras zoomed in tight on both faces. Trump looked like someone had punched him in the gut. His hands gripped the arms of his chair so hard the knuckles turned white. For 3 long seconds, nobody breathed. Then Trump exploded. He shot up out of his seat, face twisted with rage. "What the hell did you just say?" he roared, voice cracking with fury. He jabbed his finger toward Obama, then lunged sideways and tried to grab the moderator's microphone. "Turn that off! This is slander. This is a damn lie, and you know it." His voice boomed through the studio, loud and raw. He kept shouting, trying to rip the mic away so he could speak over everything. "You're finished, Obama. This is the lowest thing I've ever seen." Security took a half step forward but stopped when Obama raised one hand slightly. He didn't move, didn't flinch, didn't even raise his voice. He simply stood there, steady as a rock, and spoke one more quiet sentence that somehow cut through all the shouting. "I'm not the judge here. I'm not the prosecutor. I'm only asking you, as a leader, do you have the courage to face that truth head on, or will you keep hiding behind the family shield?" Trump's face twisted even harder. He was breathing fast, chest heaving, still clutching at the mic. For a moment it looked like he might keep yelling forever. Then he slammed the mic back down and turned toward the edge of the stage. "I'm not sitting here to be slandered like this," he declared loudly, voice still shaking with anger. "This debate is over. I'm done." He started walking off the stage, steps heavy and fast. But right before he reached the edge, Trump stopped. Just for 1 second. He turned his head and looked straight into the main camera, eyes burning. In that single heartbeat, you could see the hesitation, the flash of doubt, the raw moment where the fight drained just a little. His mouth opened like he wanted to say one last thing, but nothing came out. Then he clenched his jaw, turned sharply, and stormed off the stage. The door slammed hard behind him, the sound echoing through the now silent studio. The audience sat stunned. No one clapped, no one moved. The only thing left was the heavy, ringing silence and the image of Obama still standing alone under the bright lights, calm and unshaken. Obama stood alone on the stage for a long moment, then slowly lowered himself back into his chair. He didn't smile. He didn't look triumphant. He simply sat there, calm and composed, like a man who had said what needed to be said. When he finally spoke, his voice was quiet but carried clearly to every corner of the studio and every living room watching across the country. "Leadership isn't about who shouts the loudest or who walks away first," he said steadily. "It's not about winning arguments or protecting your image at all costs. Real leadership means facing the hard truths, even when they hurt, even when they touch the people closest to you. It means choosing the country over comfort, accountability over loyalty, and honesty over easy wins. Power without responsibility always turns toxic, and when a leader uses family as a shield instead of a reason to serve better, the people always lose." He paused, letting the words settle. "I've made my own mistakes in office. I've had to own them publicly. That's part of the job. But the test of a leader isn't whether you never fall short. The test is whether you're willing to stand up, look the country in the eye, and answer for it. That's what builds real trust. Not slogans, not buildings, not quick victories that only benefit one side. Trust is built when people see that their leader puts the truth and the greater good above everything else, including personal loyalty and family protection." Obama leaned forward slightly, his eyes scanning the silent audience before returning to the main camera. Tonight wasn't about scoring points. It was about reminding all of us what leadership really demands: Courage, clarity, and the strength to let uncomfortable truths win, even when it costs you personally. Then came the final line. Obama looked straight into the camera, voice firm and clear, delivering the closing words with quiet power. Real leadership isn't the person who wins the debate. It's the person who has the courage to let the truth win over himself. The studio stayed silent for another long beat. Then the applause started, not loud, not wild, not the usual roaring cheers. It began slow and steady, growing gradually from scattered claps into a strong, respectful wave that filled the room. It wasn't applause for drama or victory. It was applause for the weight of what had just happened, for the uncomfortable mirror that had been held up to power itself. Obama stood up slowly, buttoning his jacket with steady hands. He gave the audience a small, respectful nod, nothing flashy, just a quiet acknowledgement. Then he turned and walked off the stage with the same calm dignity he had shown all night. The cameras lingered for a few final seconds on the empty stage, the two chairs, and the small table between them. The lights gradually dimmed, the screen faded to black, and just like that, one of the most explosive nights in recent political history ended, not with shouting or celebration, but with a heavy, thoughtful silence that would linger in millions of minds long after the broadcast was over.